Know yourself. Achieve your goals through better self-knowledge. Beautiful. Ellen Bock. Wow. Love it. Achieve your goals through better self-knowledge. The start of the journey. Your personal portfolio. This book would not have been possible without the support and passions of my family and friends. Personal or self-development has in recent years become something of a fashion. There are many different forms of self-development, but they should all have a few elements in common. All self-developments need to be achieved within a clear framework, giving the individual full responsibility for their lives. The process should have the ultimate goal of releasing the full potential of the individual. Working at personal development is much the same as sports training. The moment you stop training is the moment the benefit starts to wane. Self-development and improvement is not one of a quick fix solution, it's the way of life. To continue the sports analogy, the best athletes are the ones who work through the difficult issues and have come out the other side of the pain barrier. They are the ones who know what fear is, can face up to it and deal with it. They have pushed themselves beyond what they felt possible and kept trying even when the odds appear to be stacked against them. Athletes cannot watch themselves in action and give objective assessments of what they're doing, what's good about it, and what needs to be improved. They rely on their instinct and experience to support them. Most top athletes have a coach who, through observation and suggestions, spurs them to improve. Through self-development, you can reassess who you are and who you want to be. You can regain the confidence that you once had as a child, as a very young child. You probably did not spend too much time worrying about what others thought of you. You just were. You experienced events as they happened and took them at face value. Self-confidence only becomes an issue when you realize what others have opinions about you, when you realize that they make you present is important. As you enter society, you naturally want to integrate and to do what you need to. Play by the rules of that society. This is where right and wrong starts to creep in. There are right ways to be and wrong ways to behave. There is the ideal you strive for. You start to compare yourself to what you hold as if the ideal, and you really find yourself falling far short of it. Over the years, your confidence gets eroded and you start to spend huge amounts of energy trying to regain the self-confidence you once had, or at least find ways of generating the image that makes everyone else believe you have it. Gaining, or perhaps more accurately, regaining our self-confidence is about keeping things simple. It is about keeping others' opinion and thoughts about you in perspective. Self-confidence suggests that you're able to trust in and rely upon yourself. It doesn't suggest that you have to be perfect. So regaining self-confidence is not about getting everything right. It is about trusting yourself to be able to deal with life as it comes to you. Sometimes when you have to deal with life as it comes to you, sometimes when you have to a really close friend, someone in whom you have confidence, you might say, I would trust them with my life. Well, self-confidence is exactly that. Trust yourself with your own life. There's nothing mystical or magical about the process of self-development. It's not a deep psychological analysis, but neither is it something to be taken lightly. This book will introduce you to a clear and simple process of self-development that anyone can use to improve aspects of their lives that are not working as well as they could be. Aims to be your coach. Have you ever met people who had nothing but complain about problems, the people, the difficulties in their life, or perhaps you know someone who consistently makes the same mistake and cannot understand why they keep ending up with the same consequences? Actually, they probably describe all of us at some point in our lives. Brain life becomes a kind of merry-go-round. You end up going round and on, experiencing the same scenes each time you go around. Through self-development, you can get off the merry-go-round and have to go at one of the other rides as the fairground of life. If you want to improve the quality of your life, then this is for you. If you want to complain about life and its hardships, then stop right here. If you're prepared to look honestly at yourself and have the courage to change what needs to be changed, then read on. If not, why not give this to someone else? If that sounds harsh, it's probably because it gets the most out of any self-development program. Means you have to work hard at it. As in most situations, when you get out of it, depends on what you put into it. Forget what the others say. Trust yourself in life. Well done. By choosing to read on, you have just made your first steps towards changing your life. Probably the best way to read it is to take chapter at a time, do the exercises, and then go on. You might find some of the exercises difficult to do at first, and you will need to go back over some of them. You can work through it alone or in partnership with someone. Remember, self development is a continued process, and you may need to go back and repeat the exercises at times. So, where do you start your journey of self development? Well, by seeing where you are now and how you got there. You cannot navigate from one point to another unless you know where both the start and destination are in relation to each other. Your personal portfolio, creating a life map. A life map is simply a way of pulling together your personal history. Please take a few moments to think about major events in your life and then plot these events in your life map. You can do it any way that suits you. You can do anything you feel is relevant. Things that you might like to add are key events, how you felt about them, and how they influenced you. Choose one that you feel comfortable with and create your own style. You can draw going up on the page or along the page. Sometimes as you draw your life map, you may feel things which are really good but a negative event occurs. As shown here, you can show this by drawing a line going in a different direction from the general trend. Maps out of your life using age as the determiner. All the events you have just written down on your life map have had an influence on who you are and how you see the world. Equally, your future will be determined by what you do now. If you want to change the future, you need to work at the present. Having completed your life map, ask yourself the following question: how many lows are followed by highs? Who got you out of those lows? Was it yourself, or perhaps you had help of the people who care about you? Sometimes when you are at a low point, you feel like there is no end to it. At this point, look back into your life map and remind yourself how you got out of the previous low points. Also, it is important to remember that all low points do come to an end and often followed closely by a high point. In most cases, the life map shows a lot about yourself. Each event in your life is one piece of the puzzle, and all the pieces make it full and valid, tax free. Building a personal portfolio. Your life map has provided information about your past and how you came to be who you are. You need to bring you firmly into the present so that you have a strong foundation upon which to build your future. To keep this foundation and clear focus, you need to build a personal portfolio. The word portfolio simply means to refer to the collection of items, something you can hold on as a reminder for that you are now and can do. Now look back to your life map and think about the events on it. What skills did you use to manage those events? What have you done? Consider all that you are in terms of the qualities, skills, and achievements you have developed over the years to help you thinking. You may like to consider the following definitions. Qualities are natural gifts you have, and you may have developed them more over the years, but they come very naturally to you. Skills are something you have had to learn. Achievements are events that you have planned for, worked towards, and succeeded at. Here is an example of portfolio qualities: ambitious, tenacious, honest, loyal, results oriented, determined, confident, integrity, team player. These are work related. Personal, loyal, tolerant, faithful, energetic, honest, caring, supportive, adventurous, sociable. Skills: understanding people, project management, negotiation, influencing, team building, meeting deadlines, communication, selling, presentation, strategic thinking. Coughing, cooking, swimming, creative, ambience, planning, time management, stress management, tennis, tact, listening. Achievements: setting up a business, learning about finance, degree, recruiting good staff, developing staff, selling large contracts, bringing 5 top clients to the business, learning to drive long-term relationships, learning about equities, my friendship with and acquaintances, relationships with family, garden, charity, work, house. Based on your thoughts so far, then, what do you have to bring to the party in your work related or your personal life? Your personal life refers to all the qualities, skills, and achievements you have or use outside of the work environment. What has your past given you as a foundation of your present and your future? You may find that there's a lot of similarity between the work and the personal sides of the table. That's a fine, because They will naturally influence each other. Perhaps you have never worked or have been working in the home. Don't worry, that doesn't mean that you have nothing to put in the professional or work related box. Let's say you have been looking after the house and children for some time. Think about the qualities and skills you use every day. For example, you may need to use a good planning skills to get everyone ready and out of the door in the morning, to correct the dry cleaning, to go to shopping and prepare an evening meal, while at the same time dealing with the plumber, the telephone bill, and so on. You can see there are various skills involved like planning, budgeting, negotiating, delegating, and many more. Have you ever organized the house more? Think about all the skills that needed to do that. Take your time to write at least 10 items in each box. Now fill in your personal portfolio on page 11. How hard was that actually? Many people find this exercise fairly difficult. How many times did you stop and say to yourself, is that really a quality, skill, or achievement? Or would others see this as an achievement? You probably really take the time and the indulgence to take stock of where you are. Most of you forget or don't acknowledge your qualities, skills, and achievements. When you succeed at something, often do you deny it as was difficult and struggle? Something tells you that if you achieved it, it can't have been that hard, or indeed much of an achievement at all. Your modesty doesn't allow boasting, and as a result, you deny or forget your own successes. Going back to your personal portfolio, you might like to take note of the qualities, skills, and achievements that overlap your work-related and personal life. Many skills you use in your private lives, you also use at work and vice versa. You might see these parts of your life as separate entities. They are, and they're all part and parcel of you and your life. There really is no need to be totally different person at work or home. Just to ensure that you haven't missed anything, or if you're having difficulty thinking of enough things to put in your personal portfolio, look at this list below and see what you have forgotten. Examples: courage, energy, adventurous spirit, social nature, honesty, empathy, dynamism, patience, compassion, ambition, calmness, happiness, tolerance, openness, integrity. Examples: list of skills: analyzing, dedication, selling, planning, staying calm, learning, housekeeping, driving, time management, listening, report writing, motivation, facilitating skill, teaching, dealing with conflict, communicating, encouraging others, negotiating, initiating, joke telling, DIY, managing money, supporting others, cooking, managing process, completing things, requesting support, swing, managing your achievement, foreseeing possible consequences, decision making, influencing, organizing, innovating, making speeches, diving, dealing with solving problems, educating the children, learning in languages, leading the team, risk management. Wow, examples of achievements: walking, reading, relationships, graduation, your first ever, your first job, marriage, giving your first good speech, balance needs of children, part-time job, facing your peers, talking, first day at school, passing examination, driving tests, going to university, promotion, children, standing up for yourself, learning to fly, admitting your humanity. If you are still having trouble with either your life map or your personal portfolio, why not ask 2 or 3 people close to you to help you? It's probably best if you give them a warning of what you want from them, and give them some time to think it through, balancing the positive and the negative. Think back to last week. How many times did you sit down in the evening and tell yourself how great you were that day? Of the 10 things that might happen to you in a day, let's say that 8 were good and 2 were bad. Which events do you think and talk about in the evening? Do you sit down with a friend or your partner and tell them about the 8 positive events or the 2 negative events, and what do they tell you about? Or maybe you don't talk about it at all because you don't want to relive the whole day again. Whatever you do, you must balance the negative with positive. It's true, isn't it? What do you remember most about your life? Isn't it always the mistakes, success, the failures, the embarrassing moments of the time you went? Then grateful fool of yourself. It's as if the memory meticulously stores up all the bad events and then throws them as a every now and then, just to remind you of how many times you got things wrong. Use your personal portfolio to remind yourself of all the positive things about you and your life when they seem hard to remember. The point is that you do not know your own worth, your skills and achievements, and what you have to contribute. Who well, most of us look for approval and recognition from others. That's nice, but it does mean we are sitting waiting for the day they remember or feel like giving us that recognition. You need to take responsibility for yourself and acknowledge yourself. Confidence must come from within yourself, not from others. We will look more closely at confidence building later. But for the moment, it is imperative that you suspend your critical self and see the positive aspects of yourself in your life. Most of us have confidence levels that don't need the added burden of negative thinking. Stop undermining the positive for just a moment. I'm not suggesting that you bury your head in sand and ignore the bad moments and events, but rather that you learn to deal with them differently. The process is quite simple, really, but it takes a bit of practice. We will see the process of handling mistakes later on in here. Now, looking at your list of the skills and achievements, imagine that someone else had given it to you and said that these are my skills and achievements. What would you think about that person? What would you get to know that person better? Are they interesting? Could you learn something from them? Do they have anything to offer to you? In all honesty, your answer is probably yes. Well, that's you're looking at. So give yourself some credit. Summary. At this stage, you should have your life map, which shows your personal history, and your personal portfolio, which shows all your qualities, skills, and achievements. In other words, you're well on your way to beginning to see who you are, your worth, and what you can bring to any situation. You have the foundation of which you are. And starting point for your journey, please now put it down. Take a break before starting. Understanding your image. Knowing who you are and why will help you to create your future. However, the things you have written down in your life map and your personal portfolio provide only half the picture. The other half lives in the realm of perception and the image you generate. You have some great skills, but unless you see yourself as having those skills and can make others see them as well, they will stay locked in their box, never to be acknowledged. Being who you are is one thing. Being seen for who you are can be quite another. The first step is to spend just a few moments thinking about how you perceive yourself. Write in the adjectives or phrases you would use to describe yourself in your self-perception box. Throughout here, please try to balance the positive with the negative. For every negative adjective or phrase, try to generate two positive ones. How do I perceive myself? Hardworking, enjoying good food, value my friendships, determined, driven, ambitious, able, professional, tough, afraid of failure, friendly. Self-perception box. Complete as much as you can. How do I perceive myself? Relationships, caring, knowing, loving, protecting, living, gives, achievements, success, knowledge, pleasant things, courageous, patriotic, world as one, integrity, oneness of religion, child education. Build the full picture. The next step is to consider how you believe others to perceive you. To do this, you can create a perception tree, an example of which is given. A perception tree has several boxes describing different groups of people likely to be part of your life, each with a set of adjectives and phrases which that group of people might use to describe you. The perception tree allows you to summarize all the different aspects of yourself. Each of you is like a diamond with many different facets that you choose to show or to hide. You choose quite carefully which facets to show it to whom, when, and where. The thing to bear in mind is that all the different facets make up the diamond, and if any one facet is missing, the full greatness of the diamond is not accentuated. Example of perception trait. So let's see how you believe the world perceives you. Choose your groups of people for your perception tree and just write down the adjectives and the phrases they might use to describe you. If you're really brave, you might like to ask people within each of the groups for the adjectives and the phrases they will use to describe you. Remember to let them know exactly what you need and give them time to feel it through. It's fine if you don't want to ask others. The exercise will also work if you do it for yourself. An example of how I believe others perceive me is shown. Think about how you behave with each group of the people who have chosen for your perception tree. If you were to ask them what patterns of behavior or actions might they bring forward as evidence of the substantiate the adjectives and phrases in each of the boxes, people will determine their beliefs of you based purely on what they have experienced with you or heard about you. It is your behavior that creates your image. Beautiful. Family. Friendly, stubborn, caring, friends, fun-loving, loyal, caring, boss, hardworking, honest, determined, work colleagues, determined, aggressive, father, line, doesn't listen, mother, reliable, trustworthy, how I believe others perceive me. This is both the problem and solution to creating your image. On the problem side, people often make up assumptions about your behavior and consequently about you. Everyone does this. It is a natural process used to make sense of your environment. You cannot stop others or indeed yourself from making judgments. As for the solution, since it is your pattern of behaviors or actions that generate assumptions and determine what others think of you, Then if you can change your pattern of behaviors or actions, you can also influence or change their attitudes and beliefs, and therefore their perception of you. I should say at this point that this probably isn't as easy as it sounds, because you first need to determine the relevant pattern of behaviors, make a decision to change, and then give the others time to readjust their views of you based on your new patterns of behavior, depending on the length of the relationship and the depth of the feelings that can sometimes feel like an uphill struggle. Remember also, it's your choice as to what aspects of your behavior you wish to address, as long as you understand why you generate the image you do. It is up to you what you do about it. So if you are ready to have a hard look at what you do to generate your image, then move on to the next exercise. Look back at your perception box and write down the adjectives you would use to describe yourself in the left-hand column, and the behavior or actions that earned you the image in the right-hand column. Honest. Admits mistakes, like the time the letter went out to Mr. Jones. Determined. Stays with it until everyone else is ready to give another family outing. You may experience conflicting perceptions of yourself. This is called normal, as you may well feel and behave differently in different situations. How I believe others perceive me. Now, you can do the behavioral and analysis of how you believe others perceive you and how indeed people actually perceive you. If you choose to do this with someone else, make sure you feel comfortable and safe with that person. Somebody. What you should have now is your life map, your personal portfolio, and a fairly extensive understanding of how you perceive yourself as well as how you believe others perceive you. And if you have been brave, you will have information of how others actually perceive you. In addition, you have behavioral evidence as to how you earn the image you have. You should now have a full picture of your starting point and the foundation for your journey. The next few chapters will deal with generating the destination of your journey, after which you can start to plot the routes you will take to get there. As part of creating your destination, you will need to look at your image again, but this time from the perspective of you generating the image you want. You will be in control of your image, not the other way around. You will be in control of your image, creating your desired image. This is my favorite. Lord, oh, love you. Know yourself. Achieve your goals through better self-knowledge. Beautiful. Ellen Bock. Wow. Love it. Achieve your goals through better self-knowledge. The start of the journey. Your personal portfolio. This book would not have been possible without the support and passions of my family and friends. Personal or self-development has in recent years become something of a fashion. There are many different forms of self-development, but they should all have a few elements in common. All self-developments need to be achieved within a clear framework, giving the individual full responsibility for their lives. The process should have the ultimate goal of releasing the full potential of the individual. Working at personal development is much the same as sports training. The moment you stop training is the moment the benefit starts to wane. Self-development and improvement is not one of a quick fix solution, it's the way of life. To continue the sports analogy, the best athletes are the ones who work through the difficult issues and have come out the other side of the pain barrier. They are the ones who know what fear is, can face up to it and deal with it. They have pushed themselves beyond what they felt possible and kept trying even when the odds appear to be stacked against them. Athletes cannot watch themselves in action and give objective assessments of what they're doing, what's good about it and what needs to be improved. They rely on their instinct and experience to support them. Most top athletes have a coach who, through observation and suggestions, spurs them to improve. Through self-development, you can reassess who you are and who you want to be. You can regain the confidence that you once had as a child, as a very young child. You probably did not spend too much time worrying about what others thought of you. You just were. You experienced events as they happened and took them at face value. Self-confidence only becomes an issue when you realize what others have opinions about you, when you realize that they make you present is important. As you enter society, you naturally want to integrate and to do what you need to. Play by the rules of that society. This is where right and wrong starts to creep in. There are right ways to be and wrong ways to behave. There's the ideal you strive for. You start to compare yourself to what you hold as the ideal, and you really find yourself falling far short of it. Over the years, your confidence gets eroded, and you start to spend huge amounts of energy trying to regain the self confidence you once had, or at least find ways of generating the image that makes everyone else believe you have it. Gaining, or perhaps more accurately, regaining our self confidence is about keeping things simple. It is about keeping others' opinion and thoughts about you in perspective. Self confidence suggests that you're able to trust in and rely upon yourself. It doesn't suggest that you have to be perfect. So, regaining self confidence is not about getting everything right, it is about trusting yourself to be able to deal with life as it comes to you. Sometimes when you have to deal with life as it comes to you, sometimes when you have to a really close friend, someone in whom you have confidence, you might say, I would trust them with my life. Well, self-confidence is exactly that. Trust yourself with your own life. There's nothing mystical or magical about the process of self-development. It's not a deep psychological analysis, but neither is it something to be taken lightly. This book will introduce you to a clear and simple process of self-development that anyone can use to improve aspects of your lives that are not working as well as they could be. Aims to be your coach. Have you ever met people who had nothing but complain about problems, the people, the difficulties in their life, or perhaps you know someone who consistently makes the same mistake and cannot understand why they keep ending up with the same consequences? Actually, they probably describe all of us at some point in our lives when life becomes a kind of merry-go-round. You end up going round and on, experiencing the same scenes each time you go around. Through self-development, you can get off the merry-go-round and have to go at one of the other rides as the fairground of life. Aha! If you want to improve the quality of your life, then this is for you. If you want to complain about life and its hardships, then stop right here. If you're prepared to look honestly at yourself and have the courage to change what needs to be changed, then read on. It, if not, why not give this to someone else? If that sounds harsh, it's probably because it gets the most out of any self-development program. Means you have to work hard at it. As in most situations, when you get out of it, depends on what you put into it. Forget what the others say. Trust yourself in life. Well done. By choosing to read on, you have just made your first steps towards changing your life. Probably the best way to read it is to take chapter at a time, do the exercises, and then go on. You might find some of the exercises difficult to do at first, and you will need to go back over some of them. You can work through it alone or in partnership with someone. Remember, self-development is a continued process, and you may need to go back and repeat the exercises at times. So, where do you start your journey of self-development? Well, by seeing where you are now and how you got there. You cannot navigate from one point to another unless you know where both the start and destination are in relation to each other. Your personal portfolio, creating a life map. A life map is simply a way of pulling together your personal history. Please take a few moments to think about major events in your life and then plot these events in your life map. You can do it any way that suits you. You can do anything you feel is relevant. Things that you might like to add are key events, how you felt about them, and how they influenced you. Choose one that you feel comfortable with and create your own style. You can draw going up on the page or along the page. Sometimes as you draw your life map, you may feel things which are really good but a negative event occurs. As shown here, you can show this by drawing a line going in a different direction from the general trend. Maps out of your life using age as the determiner. All the events you have just written down on your life map have had an influence on who you are and how you see the world. Equally, your future will be determined by what you do now. If you want to change the future, you need to work at the present. Having completed